Good evening, everybody. My name is Tanner Stephenson, and today I'm here to share a little bit about myself and my experience in speech. My name again is Tanner Stephenson. It's a little bit of a funny story. When I was born, my parents lived on Tanner Bridge, and so I give them a hard time all the time about how I acquired my name. I tell them it's because they didn't want to have to make a choice. They looked at the street sign and said, there it is, Tanner. They promised me that's not the case, but I still like to give them a hard time about it. My nickname is Tan Man, as the shirt says today. When I was 3, my parents had that shirt made for me, and I would wear it around. And this past Christmas I had it remade, and so now I continue to wear it around. I go to Columbia College, obviously. I am majoring in 3 degrees: accounting, finance, and political science. I picked accounting because I'm interested in the number crunching and the analyzation of numbers, and it turns out finance is the two studies overlap. So I take all my accounting classes, I add about 4 classes on, and then I have a finance degree, because many of the classes that I need for my accounting degree I need for the finance degree. It's not a dual major, it's a true dual degree program that Columbia College offers. And then political science I chose because that is kind of where I hope to go one day, into politics. Now, I continuously hear that political science degree doesn't do much for you. I'm okay with that because I'll be backed up with the accounting and finance. I have little experience in speech other than high school speech, and that's why I entered into speech, as well as wanting to go into the political scene. For example, if I ever did become governor, I wouldn't be speaking to a small room of people. I would be speaking to the entire state. And that's kind of why I chose to enter into speech and continue my knowledge growth within speech. With the little experience I do have, there are some strengths that have come naturally or that I've acquired through other means, and then there are weaknesses. The strengths, I believe, are my directness, my body language, and my eye contact. I have become very direct because of my grandfather. In my opinion, it's because of my grandfather. He was a business owner, he was a lobbyist, he was a farmer, and he was single, he lived on his own, so he was a very stern and direct individual. And growing up, I wasn't always that way, and he somehow instilled it into me, and that's how I became so direct today. My body language is simply through experience and observation. I've noticed through passing and in past experiences that people pay attention to body language, and it's a huge communicator to other people, whether you're speaking to them directly or they're simply watching you communicate to someone else. There could be no communication to anybody, but communication is happening. There may not be words exchanged between individuals, but communication is occurring through your body language. So I tend to try to keep body language going in a manner that represents me always in a good way. Another is I work in the Capitol quite a bit. I'm around senators and representatives, and body language is key, in my opinion, because I want to set a good example for myself in case I ever get to hold a seat one day. The eye contact, I believe, comes from my experience with American Sign Language. Past Columbia College courses I've taken were American Sign Language 1 and American Sign Language 2, and part of that is huge eye contact because you have to literally watch the person. And so that's kind of followed me into my day-to-day life and allowed me to keep eye contact. It's kind of strange too. I don't look at people's eyes when I'm communicating with them. I look at their mouth, and that's just because that's what I've always done. With my little experience in speech, of course, there are weaknesses. My weaknesses, in my opinion, are my erms or ums. I ramble a lot, and I'm awful at picking topics. I believe that I've come to do the ums and erms in passing because I want to sound knowledgeable. My previous job experience was a unit leader in the federal audit section at the Missouri Department of Revenue. I had 8 employees, and I took care of the day-to-day operations within that section. I got promoted to a supervisor of quality review section of the Department of Revenue. I had 31 employees, and I oversaw the daily functions of that section. Moving over to the legislative analyst position that I have now, I walked in with little political experience, being put in rooms with senators and representatives and having to answer questions and participate in day-to-day communication with those individuals. Because I had little experience, I want to sound like I do. I know the stuff, I have the knowledge, and I can put it out there. The knowledge I have, some of the political terminology and slogans and slang that they use, I'm not so up to date on. And I will use ums to counteract and process in my brain what I could say or should say in a political term. The rambling comes because I get excited, I start talking, and then my brain's going 1,000 miles an hour. It's just because I get so excited I do, and I start thinking about everything, and when I think about one thing and it goes to another, I want to share that and tell you about that, and it's not good for overall speeches, if you will, because you get off topic, the audience gets confused. What are you actually talking about? It has no relation to the introduction you gave. They're going to lose interest. The last is picking topics because I want to know everything. I'm a knowledge seeker. I want to know everything. I have tons of questions about topics. I have topics that I would be considered an expert on, and I can never just pick one. I would much rather just be told this is your topic, and then I could do that. Picking one for me is hard because I continuously think of other topics that I may want to do, or what the best topic to do for this specific kind of speech is. Even though I have strengths, the weaknesses are there, and there's room for improvement. I believe that my ums and erms can be worked on. Instead of saying ums and erms, I think that if I simply paused when an or erm is coming or would be coming, that it would help my overall speeches. And in the long run, after applying that into my speeches, it'll just become second nature. The only way that I can practice, I just said it, the only way to get better at not saying or erm within speeches is practice. Get a practice audience, present them the speech without saying ums and erms. And if I do, perhaps there could be a consequence. I have to start all over. In order for me to stay on topic, I think that I need to really, really dig deep into the topic of the speech. Become an expert on it so I get excited about talking about that specific topic instead of thinking of side topics that really have no relation to the overall intended meaning of the speech. Choosing topics for me, I think that the route I'm going to go is pick topics that I am not an expert on, that I have questions about. That way I can do all the research, become an expert. Not only have I learned something, but I picked a topic, right? Kill 2 birds with 1 stone. With my speech experience, I really need to focus on practicing. I wish for all the feedback I can get. If you watch my videos every week, say something to me, give me one piece of information that you think I can do better, and I'll try to apply that to my next speech. The weaknesses themselves are there, and it's cause for improvement, and that's one of the reasons why I'm in introduction to speech, is to become a better speaker. Once I apply everything that I acquire within this class, I really do. I think that with the strengths I have, directness, body language, eye contact, improving on my ums and erms, improving on my rambling, and improving on my topic choices, at the end of this class, I will be a better speaker. Good night.